What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and we're back with some r// entitled parents. If you're new here or if you enjoy the content, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it truly helps our channel out. And a huge thank you to the members of our channel. You are truly appreciated. And I forgot to say earlier, welcome to One Toxic Pixel. And with that being said, let's get on with today's stories. Much love, guys. First story comes from Crystal007635. Ian freaks out the police were called after she got her kid in the supermarket for 2 hours. Cast: me, female 17, 16 at the time. Boyfriend: my boyfriend, male 18, 17 at the time. Annie, EM's daughter, F4, 3 at the time. M, man at the help desk. ND, nice dad. EM, the reason why you're here. P1 and P2, policeman 1 and 2. You know it's going to get spicy when there's a policeman in the cast. Important note, I live in a fairly small town, so many people know each other. This happened last year, mid-June. We're on a break from school and BF and I decided to get some snacks for a movie date. As one does, we go to the supermarket and start grabbing our stuff. We were debating which cider, I'm a lightweight, I should grab, and I see Annie enter the aisle. She looked scared and was crying a little bit. As anyone with a little bit of heart would do, we leave the cider for now and go and see what's the matter. I say, hey there, are you okay? What's wrong? Annie looked up at me. My maman, mummy in French. Oh, have you lost your mum? She sniffles and nodded. Well, we're going to help you find her. Is that okay with you? I'm me and this is BF. What's your name? And Annie says, Annie. I took her by the hand and walked up to the help desk, while BF paid for the groceries. We didn't get the cider. I notified the man at the desk that Annie had lost her mother. He was very kind and asked for Annie's name and family name so he could make a call on the microphone, which went about like this. The little Annie X has lost her mother. Could the mother of Annie X present herself at the reception desk? Annie was sat on a little bench that was facing the exit. That way, she could have seen if her mother was heading out. It was rush hour, Friday, around 5 PM, so it took BF a while to pay for everything and get to us. By that time, another message was sent around the store. Poor Annie was scared, as she kept asking where her mummy was. We tried to entertain her and allowed her to read a book from the aisle to prevent her from freaking out too much. After 1 hour, she claimed she was hungry, which seemed fair since it was probably around 6 PM to 6:30 PM. We didn't have any healthy food with us, but we gave her a little snack, a sponge stuffed with chocolate shaped like a bear. Look up Lulu Lawson. This went on 1.5 hours after the first call was made. M pulled BF and I aside for a minute, saying they were obligated to call the police because this could have been a case of child abandonment. This was a relief in a way because the police would know how to take care of her a little better. About 10 minutes later, 2 policemen showed up and came inside. BF, M and I were first asked about the situation. Annie was asked a couple of questions too. P1 said, "Hi Annie, I'm P1, I'm here to help you find your mummy." Annie said, "Is mummy in trouble?" "No, don't worry, she's not in trouble and neither are you. If we want to find her quickly, I'm going to need to know what she looks like. Do you think you can help me?" Annie nodded and described her mum's hair colour, eye colour, and very roughly what she was wearing. Mostly colours, since she was only about 3. Well, shortly after that, a man and a woman entered the store, while the man was running like crazy and the woman walking slowly behind him. The man was calling for Annie, looking so worried. This prompted Annie to look up and her face lit up. She ran up to them screaming, "Maman, Papa!" Mummy and Daddy in French. And he hues her and looked so relieved. He was apologising to her so many times. The police still asked to see both of their IDs just to confirm they were indeed Annie's parents, but that seemed to be more of a formality since Annie was the one who recognised them. P2 asked them what happened, and what we heard shocked us. EM said, "Well, I was doing my groceries, but Annie was being so annoying so I sent her to look at the toys, and well, I just forgot she was there and went home. It's only when ND came home from work that we noticed she wasn't there." P2 said, "Miss, you do realise that your daughter could have been kidnapped. If these two hadn't been here," gestures towards us, "who knows what could have happened to her?" EM said, "Well, that's fine. Why make such a big deal out of it? Why did you two even call the police? Are you trying to get me arrested?" Boyfriend said, "We didn't call the police. M did because apparently it's store policy. We didn't know what was going on. This could have been a case of child abandonment." Ian was not pleased by this comment clearly. "How dare you? You telling me I'm a bad mother? This is what you're insinuating, young man." Before BF could reply, ND gave her a look that would make anyone shut up right away. I bet he's a teacher. After a bit more talk, the little family were allowed to leave, and so were we. Andy thanked us profusely for our time. We went home, had our movie night, but I think about that sometimes. This woman was so careless with her kid, it baffles me. And there was a small little update in the comments about this as well. It said, I've talked to the dad afterwards, and I ran into him later. His now ex-wife has done this once, almost forgetting the kid at the pool. This was the last straw for himself. They apparently got divorced, but I don't know more or why she was like that. Imagine being so annoyed by a 3-year-old so much you just send them wandering by themselves to look at toys while you do your shopping. How insane is that? You know, one thing that always pops into my head with these sorts of stories that with parents abandoning their kids random places, there's something that happened in the UK many years ago, which was the murder of James Bulger. I think it's Bulger or Bulger, forgive me if I got that wrong. That a little toddler was taken away by 2 kids and was basically brutally murdered by these 2. I wouldn't suggest you look it up if you're very sensitive to these types of things, because it's painful to read. But going back to what I was saying, how can anyone just leave their kid like that? That is just insane. Our next story is from Yep, It's No One. EntitledParents tries to coach her own daughter on how to treat retail staff rudely. So this is a story about my own mother. Yep, she's the EP. So I am a young lady with a rather large chest. I'm an E in my country, and I think that's a DD in the USA. Because of that, if I'm leaving the house, bras are mandatory. About 2 years ago, when I was 19, I bought the most comfortable bra I'd ever bought before. It was soft and silky, had nice thick straps, 5 back clamps, etc. I only had that bra for about 3 months until the underwire broke free and started to stab me. It happened at university, and when I got home that afternoon, I told my mother about it. I like to think I take good care of my bras, as usually I only get rid of them because I outgrew them, or the straps became too loose beyond adjustment, but not because they break. The bra was $60 and only 3 months old, so maybe it was just defective. Bras really should not only last 3 months, so I was going to go to the store and ask for an exchange or refund. The only thing was, I did not have a receipt. Like I said, I take good care of my bras, so I did not think to keep the receipt. I also was not part of their brand customer reward service, as I only bought their products once for a sale. So they could not look up a name / membership / profile with them. I told this to my mum and wondered what I should do. She said, well, that's not okay, my mother started. You know what to do, right? Let them know that it's illegal for them to sell faulty products. Do not leave the store until you have that refunded. If the cashier says they can't refund it without receipt, then ask to speak to the manager. They're sorted out. My mother never worked in retail herself, but I, at this point in time, had been for about 4 to 5 years. I know the annoyance of the phrase, "Can I speak to your manager?" and was not going to enforce that on an innocent civilian. I said, "No, I'm not going to do that," I replied. "That would just be rude." "Well, I could do it for you then. I'll just say, my daughter bought a defective bra, which is illegal to sell, and we demand a refund because according to the law..." No, we're not going to do that either. It's not the cashier's fault that one bra happened to be defective, so I'm not going to treat them as if it is. I'll just go in, explain my situation, and ask what their policy about refunds without a receipt. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what I did. I walked in, found the cashier, and explained that my $60 bra broke in 3 months and I did not have a receipt, in the friendliest and kindest way possible, because I know how much work in retail sucks. The lady said that she did need some proof of purchase and asked me what day I brought it on. She was so kind and lovely as well. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, I looked at the transactions 3 months ago and found the date of the exact $60 purchase. I gave her the date, she typed that into her computer and found a transaction on that date for $60 in the exact bra, colour and size as mine. She printed that off, scanned that and refunded the original purchase, all while a different attendant found the same bra in my size off the shelf and bought all 3 colour options to me just in case I wanted a replacement in a different colour. I chose the original colour, thanked both the ladies for their amazing help and walked out of the store with my new and non-defective bra. See mum, you can have a social interaction without belittling retail staff, acting like know-it-all and God forbid demanding to speak to the manager. Just be kind. And this is the way that retail staff should be treated. They shouldn't be treated with disrespect or anything like that because it's just not on. There is no reason to treat another human like that, like the mother was saying, like to demand stuff from them. Treat them with respect and you get a lot more, I usually find. I mean, I've had defective products in the past and you usually approach them saying, look, I know it's not your fault, but would you be able to assist me with this? And usually it gets you a lot further than shouting at them. Our next story comes from Spiky Steve. EM yanks off my beanie, revealing my battered, mostly bald head to her entire family. So this obviously happened before quarantine, but I didn't have Reddit at the time, and it's still by far the most mortifying experience I've ever had. This story includes G, my good friend, EM, G's entitled mum, and me. So I, 15 female, struggle with a disorder called trichotillomania. Apologies if I butchered that one. It's basically where you use your hair pulling as a coping mechanism when things get stressful in life. At the time this happened, I was mostly completely bald because of it. I had patches of wiry regrown hair and some completely bald patches. It was not a pretty sight, and I wore a beanie 24/7 to cover it up. Luckily I had really supportive, understanding friends who did so much to cheer me up on a daily basis. So my friend G invited me around to her house for dinner one night. I'd known her family since primary school, so I was unaware of her mum's strict dinner table policies. They were pretty acceptable, no coats, hats, elbows on the table, etc. But I figured my friend had explained my situation to her and she would understand. This was definitely not the case. She was visibly uncomfortable with me wearing a beanie as we sat down to eat. EM said, "OP, would you mind taking off your hat at the dinner table?" I'm immediately uncomfortable, considering how to explain the situation in front of G's younger brother. My friend said, "Mum, it's okay, just leave it." EM snapping, "Don't talk back to me like that. This is my dinner table and I don't allow outdoor clothes during meal times." I said, "EM, I'm really sorry, but I prefer to keep it on for personal reasons." EM getting up, "This is ridiculous, just take off the hat." When I didn't budge, she grabbed the top of my beanie and started to pull it off. My hands darted to my head trying to resist. She went to make a comment about me being childish, but promptly shut up as soon as she revealed my battered, patchy and bald head. Her mouth kind of hung open for a second or two, as the rest of the table stayed silent. G, bless her, was furious with her EM, yanked my precious beanie from her hands and quickly rushed me away from the table. Edits, just in case anyone was interested, nothing much happened after this incident. My friend was really apologetic for her mum, and I was honestly too shocked and embarrassed to know what to say. She discreetly let me out of the house because I wasn't comfortable in that environment anymore. Later on, I know that my mum had a discussion with her. I don't want to get into a whole other story with this, but EM started to exercise her gossipy Karen nature around the other parents. In the end, she did give me an apology. It was awkward, but I accepted it. If someone says something that they'd like to do for personal reasons, that's when you accept it, Karen. You do not carry on and do your own agenda, because it will get you in trouble and you'll hurt someone's feelings. It's just that simple. God. What are they like, man? Our next story comes from Heterochromia. An entitled parent told me to turn off my in-flight movie because of the gay kissing. Oh god. This occurred fall of 2019. I was on a 14-hour flight that was only half full. There were storms recently prior to takeoff, so almost all connecting flights to arrive at that airport were late. This meant I had a whole 3-seat row to myself, since those flyers didn't make it. Almost every row was like this. Into the flight, I'd finished my third movie. It's impossible for me to sleep on planes, so I continued looking through the movie list until I saw Rocket Man. I've never seen it, but I heard good things about it. Towards halfway through the film, the song Take Me to the Pilot came on, and a gay sex scene with Elton John and John Reed started playing. I was a little surprised, but I didn't skip since the cabin was dark and everyone else was watching their own screen, or sleeping, so I thought. I felt someone poke my shoulder from behind. It was a middle-aged woman. The parent said, "You need to stop what you're watching, that's extremely inappropriate for my kid." I glanced at her boy, probably about 12. In the middle seat he was sleeping. The kid even had a sleeping eye mask on, so how the heck could he see my movie anyway? I said, "This part will be over soon, there's been no nudity in it," and I turned around. I could hear her scoff loudly. I'm assuming she pressed the help button since the flight attendant came over 10 seconds later. By the time the flight attendant came to our section, the steamy scene was finished anyway. And no, there was no nudity, just steamy kissing and pectorals. The flight attendant said, "May I help you?" The parent said, "This person is watching gay porn. My kid can see that and doesn't need to know about those relationships. She's watching a movie provided on the list. There's nothing I can do except advise you watch your own screen. It's not a family inappropriate movie on a plane. She needs to change the movie or turn it off." The FA said, "I apologise, but she has the right to watch." The FA says, "I apologise, but she has the right to watch what she wants to watch. If there are further complaints in future, we could take action." The FA walked to the back of the plane. I heard entitled mum say, "ridiculous" under her breath. I was super tempted to rewind back to Elton's one night stand, but I didn't need that BS at the moment. Later I turned around at her during Elton's drug/alcohol overdose at his pool party, and her eyes were fixated on my screen. She must have enjoyed the movie. Why do they have to comment on people's stuff? Watch your own goddamn screen. Why? There's no reason. Your kid's asleep. Why is it bothering you? Just focus on yourself. They just can't help themselves, can they? What do you guys make of that story? It just drives me mad. It's just a movie, man. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here today. It's truly appreciated. If you do enjoy the content, there's a couple more on your screen right now, which will be truly appreciated. If you go to those and watch those as well, will help with that YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It is truly, truly appreciated. And with that being said, much love, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Take care now.